Welcome to my safe haven. So in case you missed my review for Shazam, definitely check that out if you haven't, where I explain why the formats of my videos look a little different. It's because when I went live for The Last of Us season finale, for whatever reason, my computer was acting up. I'm having battery issues, so right now it's at the Apple store getting fixed, so I won't have my computer back for the next couple of days. And so I'm just recording straight from my phone just like this. So that's why my videos look like this. But hopefully it doesn't take away from you watch, like, sharing, comment, and interacting for the all gay rhythm. But anyway, with that said, let's talk about John Wick 4. Thank you so much to Lionsgate for the opportunity to be able to see it early. I actually saw it last week. And the synopsis for John Wick Chapter 4 is, with the price on his head ever increasing, legendary hitman John Wick takes his fight against the high table global as he seeks out the most powerful players in the underworld, from New York to Paris to Japan to Berlin. And this movie is once again directed by Chad Stahelski, who did the first 3 movies. And John Wick actually holds a special place in my heart because the very first movie that I've ever reviewed and I wasn't even BlackGayComicGeek then. I was Nephilim_Rising on Instagram. But the first movie that I've ever publicly reviewed was John Wick Chapter 2 on the Blurred Vision podcast. And that was actually when I discovered, wait a minute, I actually like doing this. And I've enjoyed every single John Wick movie that has come out. And I'm surprised considering, how small, and they didn't really the first John Wick movie, they did not advertise that movie at all until a month before it came out. And considering how much this movie's blown up, we're now on John Wick 4, who would have thought? And so with that said, John Wick Chapter 4, it was no exception. This movie was phenomenal. This movie was incredible. I had such a great time. The action was great. I had a great time watching John Wick Chapter 4. Now, I will say, getting this out of the way, and it wasn't even really a bad thing for me because you had 3 movies prior to that, but I would say out of all the John Wick movies, this one had the least amount of plot. It was just action on top of action on top of action on top of action. Now, granted, obviously there was a story there, but you had to have seen the first 3 movies, but this was mostly payoff for this movie based on the first 3 movies. And I still love the payoff. And these are my 2 negatives regarding the movie, just to get them out the way, because they didn't affect my enjoyment of the movie. But also, I feel like out of all the John Wick movies, and we all know Keanu Reeves is not the greatest actor or whatever. He does well for the movies that he's in. But for this particular movie, John Wick 4, I would say this is his worst acted performance of the John Wick movies. For me, he was talking like this the entire time. And I was like, you give me some more emotion. Because he was like, I need a gun. And granted, Keanu does that for a lot. But for this particular movie, it just really felt like he was phoning it in. But with that said, I just want to say a special rest in peace to Lance Reddick, who is in this movie as the concierge. And he's also played a plethora of other roles. I know him as Colonel Boyles from Fringe, but he's also, the last role we're going to see him in is playing Zeus in the Percy Jackson Disney Plus series. But yeah, it's sad. He was only 60, but yeah, rest in peace, Lance Reddick. But with that said, I wish they got Halle Berry back for this movie, because her character and that sequence that she had with the German Shepherds is one of my favorite things and one of my favorite moments out of the John Wick series that happened in John Wick 3. But with that said, they knew we needed somebody in this movie with the dog because of how popular the Halle Berry moment was. So they got a person I've never heard of before, Shamir Anderson, which I'm just like, hey, Shamir. He played a character named The Tracker, and he had a German Shepherd. And I enjoyed this cat. He's a new character to the franchise, and I really liked him. And speaking of another new character that you had to the franchise, you had the legendary, the incredible, the charismatic, the not too bad on the eyes, Donnie Yen. And his character was one of my favorite things about this movie. Obviously, I'm not going to go into details because of spoilers, but every scene that he was in, especially if you know Donnie Yen's work as a martial artist, every scene that he was in, I loved his character. I loved the character, the way he portrayed the character, the action sequences. And I can't just talk about the action sequences enough. Not just Donnie Yen, but all the action sequences in this movie were so good. And the thing about it is, like, you believed that the people that were doing them were the people that were doing, like, you saw, like, Keanu Reeves, like, you knew it was Keanu Reeves in pretty much every action sequence. You saw his face. Every punch felt like a real punch. Like, it just was great. But yeah, I can't say enough about this movie. I love this movie. If you haven't seen the first 3 John Wick movies, I believe they're on HBO Max. But once you see the first 3 John Wick movies, definitely watch John Wick Chapter 4. Another negative, really quick, I didn't really like the way the movie ended. I was a little disappointed by the ending, but outside of that, I had a blast watching this movie. I'm totally gonna watch this movie again. And I would say my ranking for all the John Wick movies, I would say my favorite is still John Wick 3, but John Wick Chapter 4 is my second favorite. And then John Wick 1, and then finally John Wick Chapter 2. So with that said, once you guys see John Wick, what did you think about John Wick Chapter 4? And then what would you rank all of the John Wick movies? Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section below. Once again, like, share, comment, interact on this video for the All Gay Rhythm. And if this is one of your first time checking out one of my videos, please check out the other videos on my channel. If you like what you see, please subscribe for more and hit that bell notification button so you're alerted every single time I post a new video. And tell your friends, families, and neighbors about my channel to help me continue to grow. And as always, I'll catch you guys next time.